Welcome to a guide to new mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. It's Tuesday the 23rd of April and we've got 3 new mods out today. Well, at least we have at the moment. Whether any more come out over the course of the day, we shall see. I'm going to start over the back, I think, with the Windmill. This is by Tarczi007. It's a placeable, but it's not just a decorative placeable. It's like the wind turbine and solar panels and so on, in where you place it and it will bring you money in. Whether that be that it's milling grain, whether it's providing power, or whether it's just a tourist attraction, I'm not quite sure, but it will make you money. It's a nice, tidy mod. It's like, I think it's a standardish windmill. I know, I'm trying to think where I've seen it before. Alien Jim's got some up on Windmill Hill here. He had them on Sussex Farm. There was one on Sussex. There's been a few on different maps. But it's a very nice, neat, tidy mod. Doesn't take up a lot of ground space. And this will earn you, if you place it on easy, 750 per hour, on normal 500 per hour, and on hard 250 per hour. There is one slight drawback with this though, and we'll have a look in here. Under miscellaneous, and it's that it costs 600,000 to buy. Now the problem you've got with all of these, when you buy placeables that make you money, the greenhouses require manure, they require water. The solar panels, you place them, they just provide you with money coming in. The huge wind turbine, very, very expensive. You get a little bit more money per hour, but it's very, very expensive to place. Any of these come with that kind of consideration of how much does it cost, how much can I make per hour, how long will it take me to recover that money. You might just decide you want to place it because you like the look of the placeable, it fits in with your storyline, your narrative, your let's play, the map you're playing on, whatever it may be. The Windmill at 600,000, if you play on normal, I think my maths is right, that will take you 50 game days to make that money back. So it's quite a bit of money, I have to say, but again, it's that thing that if you want a windmill on your map and you want to make a bit of money, fair enough. It's a big outlay straight off the bat. It might be you want to use government subsidies, or when you start the map up you might want to have it placed as part of your landscaping, that kind of thing maybe. But anyway, there you go. So that's from Tarczi007. That's 2 slots to place, so it's not a huge slot count, just a little bit pricey, that's all really. But there you go, very nice mod. Second mod we're going to have a quick look at. This is a Case International 1030 header for harvesters, Case harvesters predominantly, but I know a lot of times you can mix and match the headers between. It's a very nice tidy mod. It is an 18-foot header, which is 5.5 meters. This is by Matt26. Like I say, nice tidy mod, nice tidy looking header. You do have the ability to adjust the height and the distance, I guess. Height and distance of the rotor can come in and out, and it can go up and down if you want a bit more realism when you're doing your crops. This will run you 14 slots, which is fairly high, I have to say, for a smallish header. I think a lot of modders are falling foul to... There seems to be this weird thing that happens when you convert from PC, which is where they make all the mods, over to console. It all runs fine on PC, then something happens in the crossover. Because a lot of modders have been very, 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 very surprised by the high slot counts their mods have got. But anyway, we'll have a look in store. Like I say, this is under headers. If we scroll across, you'll see what I mean in that The John Deere header, there is a 13.7 metre header and it's 17 slots. That's actually quite high. The two Draper headers here, they're both 13 slots, but they're big headers, 45-foot headers. If we go down to the smaller headers around here, we've got 7.6 metre, 5.7 metre, that's 4 slots. That one's 8 slots. The Power Stream is 9 slots for a 5 metre. So if we go all the way along, you then find yourself with a 5.5 metre header running at 14 slots. Seems a little bit high. I don't think it's intentional, it just is the way it is. That will cost you 22,000, and it's designed to go on the 1660 axial flow combine, but like I say, I know sometimes they are a little bit interchangeable. But there you go, that's from Matt 26, a new header for combines, which brings me on to the last mod of today. This doesn't look much different to the one we've got in game already, but this is by North Modding Company, and these guys gave us the John Deere stuff recently. They like the login, they're into their login. So this is the Komatsu 895 Load Flex. It looks incredibly similar to the 895 we've already got by Giants, but there are some subtle differences. We've got a few additional bits. We can have a garden blade, we can have a blade, we can have without guard, with guard. There's a whole load of options. We'll have a look at those in a second. But like I say, for all intents and purposes, looking around it, it doesn't look much different. These sections here are red, and I think the in-game one, I've got one over there, we're going to have a look at in a minute, I think a black or silver. But let's have a look at this in store. So, under forestry, we have got the in-game one from Giants, Komatsu 875, 216,000. That runs at, because I've already got one in game, that's 26 slots I think it is. Again, if you're a PC, don't worry about slots, doesn't affect you whatsoever. Options available on the in-game one, we can change the tyres from the standard Trelleborgs to Ollis 4s, and then there's a whole load of various different options we've got in the Ollis 4s tracks. If we scroll across now, we come to the Komatsu 895 Load Flex, and this is the one that is by North Modding Company. This runs at 27 slots, so it's only one slot more than the in-game one. 300,000, so it's a bit more pricey. The standard one runs at horsepower wise 251. This one starts at 263, but there are some more options, so we're going to have a look on this one. We can change again those options. We've got knock-ins, and then we can get onto the Ollis 4s, and we can change all the options around for various different Ollis 4s tracks should we desire them. We go back to standard. On the front here, we've got the option of blade and guard removed. We can have the blade and guard. We can have guard but no blade, blade but no guard, and then blade and guard removed again. So we've got a few options on the front to customize it a little bit. And as far as engine setup goes, hang on. Standard is the 895 stage 3A, and that's 263 horsepower, or we can have it on the 895 tier 4 final, which is 286 horsepower, but that will cost you another 12,400, which takes the price then up to 312,400. So can get a little bit pricey. So what do we get for that? Well, it's got a lot of the standard features that the standard one has. It's not all roses, I will be honest. But when you turn, there seems to be an issue with it turning tight on its joint. Because if I go along now, speed picks up quite happily. If I then turn tight, the speed just scrubs, just disappears. It also has this thing that if I take my foot off the accelerator, so to speak, it's almost like the brakes lock on. I'm not braking, I'm just taking my finger off the accelerator. It, like, the back locks up, it stops almost instantly. I didn't even touch the brakes. To be honest with you, touching the brakes it stops just as sharply. Most vehicles in game normally, if you take your foot off the accelerator, you get a bit of gradual deceleration. On this one you don't, it just kind of locks up almost instantaneously. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that or not, but that's what it does. Now, crane operation on the back is like most of the cranes in this kind of category, which is all rather lovely. I've been fiddling around with these cranes because I've been trying to get a little bit better at using them. So we've got our usual crane operation that we expect, up and down, in and out, and we get our rotating head. And we've also got opening and closing. Lovely. Lighting wise, lights on the front, lights on the back and sides, kind of a main beam spread at the front as well. Lighting's pretty good. But here's its party trick, and this is a bit like the John Deere one. If we press L1 and X, let's zoom in a little bit on that. Let's go that side. Press it again, close that up. So, load flex. We have a flexible loading bay. This triples the capacity for logs on the back of this, which is a little bit like the John Deere one we had recently. And it's pretty cool, I have to say. So again, it comes down to that options thing. What I'm going to do is stick this up against the back of the standard in game. You can see the difference in capacity that this loading bay has. So there's the width of your standard one, and there's the width of the new one. Now, one thing I will say though, whilst it has got a wider width on the bay, these kind of tines that stick up here are a little bit lower than the standard ones. So whilst you can go a lot wider, I think having those maybe a little bit higher would have given you a little bit more capacity for loading up. And the loading bay isn't particularly deep, nor is the standard in-game one, to be fair. This will take 5s, maybe 6s at a push. Anything longer than that, and the centre of gravity tips over this back one here, and you find longer logs, 8-metre ones, will tip backwards that way. So it's kind of for slightly smaller ones. So putting up against the John Deere one we just had come out recently, and this is the thing, at the end of the day, this is what you're going to be comparing them to. If you're going to choose which one to use, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be looking at what's available, what are the prices. So I think you can see already the load bay width is almost identical, but then look at the John Deere and look how much taller those tines are there than the Komatsu ones. But again, like I always say with mods that come out, it's about choices and options, and yes, they're not cheap, but the load capacity and bay is quite big. The crane grabs are still temperamental if you try to overload them. If you try and go for 1, maybe 2 logs, they can work very well. It just requires a bit of practice. I think that's the thing I've been learning. It's a very, very nice tidy mod, and like I say, having more options for forestry, if forestry is your thing. It does have a little bit of a thing if you try and turn, like that's just done there, with it stationary, we're getting this thing with the wheel lifts up. If you turn while you're moving, it's perfectly fine, apart from that thing where it's slowing down. If I sit still and try and turn, we get that thing happens like that. Do it the other way and then let go, it lifts that track up. So I'm not sure if it's an issue with the joint, maybe, I really don't know. What we'll do, just to double check it, we'll go to the standard Giants one. And you'll see what I mean. Turning wise, this will turn at high speed and there's no detrimental impact to turning. So that's why I'm just slightly worried it might be an issue with the mod. I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to pick holes in it if it's supposed to be like that. And if we turn static, it will turn back It doesn't have an issue with the wheel lift or anything like that. So it could just be the tyre choice I've picked. It could be something like that. The new one also has, I think, I'm not sure if this one does or not. Oh no. If we look at that, if we look at the cab, there's no movement in the cab whatsoever. What the new one has got as well though, that's floating cab, so it's got cab suspension. The entire cab is suspended, not just the seats. So if I go forward and stop, you see that cab move? Ever so slightly. It's kind of a floating cab to assist your, is it called comfort ride? It's something like that, isn't it? Comfort ride. The whole thing bounces around and you get a little bit of movement in that cab. But there you go. That's the Komatsu 895 Load Flex from North Modding Company. Nice addition to the game. Like I say, something a little bit different if you want to use something a little bit different. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.